Great. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. I would like to call to order the March 23rd, 2021 meeting of the Columbia Heights School Board, District 13. If you would and are able, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you so much. Laura, would you mind a roll call?
Lewis? I believe
Here.
she'll be on.
Oh, there she is.
Oh,
We got her. Yay.
Yeah, sorry about that, everyone. Thank you.
Granlund? Samurai?
Here.
Mueller?
Here.
Severson?
Here.
Palmer? Here. And Superintendent Stenvik? Here.
All right, thank you so much, Laura. Our vision is to create worlds of opportunity for each and every learner. All belong, all succeed. And our core values are community, excellence, collaboration, integrity, respect, courage, and innovation. And speaking of those vision statements, we are going to start with a very fun Highlander highlight. Every once in a while, we get to do a Highlander highlight, and it seems extra fun during the pandemic to celebrate neat things that the students are doing that are happening in our schools. So I see Sophie Keither just lit up her screen there. Hi, and thanks for joining us, and Mr. Polly. Just for a second, we'll be honoring Sophie's first place win at the Minnesota State Poetry Out Loud competition as she represented Columbia Heights Public Schools. And I'm going to turn the floor over to Mr. Polly.
Oh, thank you. So I have been coaching the Poetry Out Loud recitation event for a while. And so when I got hired at Columbia Heights a few years ago, I wanted to continue it, and it's been fun and really rewarding. Had a couple close chances at winning the state competition, and then Sophie brought it home for us finally this year, which is pretty awesome. She recited 3 classic poems by Ernest Dowson, Edna St. Vincent Millay, and Marge Piercy. And because the event was virtual this year due to the pandemic, she had to not only memorize and perform the poems, but also create her own video recordings of those performances and send them in to the judges. The competition is run by the South Central Service Cooperative out of St. Paul, as well as nationally by the Poetry Foundation and National Endowment for the Arts. And so she will represent us virtually, as well as the state of Minnesota, at the national competition in Washington, D.C. On May 2nd. And we hope she goes through that round, and she also will have a chance to compete for a sister event with the Poetry Out Loud national competition. And the sister event is called Poetry Ourselves, where Sophie gets to present recordings of her own personal original poetry. And we hope she does well and goes far in that too. Want to make a quick note, sophomore Danquin Lee and freshman Lily Kleinschmidt also competed at the regional level, and Danquin also advanced to the state level. Also, Amara Thompson and Emmanuel Daniel competed at our school competition. We did this as a part of the Poetry Club Encore class that I've taught after schools on Mondays since the beginning of the school year.
That's awesome. I'm reading this. They gave me a little note on things to read for this, and you crushed it. So I'm gonna feel a little silly reading it, but I'll read it a little closer to the end. But congratulations, Sophie. Do you have anything that you wanted to add?
Oh gosh. Well, it's just been like a really cool experience. I had never heard of like the Poetry Out Loud competition. I've always loved poetry, but this has just given me a whole new perspective on it, especially on the analysis of older poetry. And I've gotten a lot of help from Mr. Polly with that. And because of the sister competition, Poetry Ourselves, Mr. Polly and I have also been working on my personal poetry, which has just been, I don't know, enlightening, I guess. Like, it's been a really, really cool experience, and I'm just so thrilled I got that opportunity.
That's great. Board members, do you have questions for either Sophie or Mr. Polly? Or comments, I guess, also? Molly, and then...
Natty.
Yep. Go ahead, Molly.
Oh, I'm sorry, you guys. Okay. So weird with the virtual meetings here. Congratulations, Sophie. This is incredible. And it's just really fun, as we've said before during these Highlander highlights, to see some of our students and see what they're doing. So thank you for being here and congratulations. And then just thank you, Mr. Polly, for creating these opportunities for our students. We really appreciate teachers like you.
Lori and I, oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just saying thank you for the remarks.
All right. I saw that hand, Lorian.
Yeah, I think I'll say pretty much exactly what Molly said, but I'm going to say it anyway. Mr. Polly, I think just thank you for the opportunities that you're providing our students and making those available in the virtual world that we're in as well. And I think everybody knows the arts I'm very passionate about, and I just love that our students have this opportunity, so thank you for providing that. And Sophie, kudos, I get goosebumps every time I hear about it, and Dan Quinn too, and everybody, all of our students who participated. I'm so very proud of you. Sophie, you're very talented, and I'm just honored to be able to have you represent our school nationally. So way to go.
Paula, I see you are unmuted.
Yep. So I wanted to say congratulations to Sophie and to all the rest who got involved in this. Poetry is something that's really near and dear to my heart, and it makes me so happy to see that you have the opportunity to grow that. And the credit comes back to you, Mr. Polly, for being someone who can facilitate that growth. So I wanted to say thank you and congratulations to both of you and to the rest of the students as well.
Absolutely. Congratulations, Sophie. We're so very proud of you. And one of the things that I definitely notice is it looks like you found a new love and a new passion, and that's very exciting to see. So we're very grateful that these opportunities are available and the dedication, and just congratulate. I can't wait to see what you do next.
Yeah, it's exciting, and what a great opportunity for the kids. I think I personally love literature and reading and writing. Poetry is always something I've actually thought about as an adult, taking a class to gain appreciation. So I think it's really exciting that you have this opportunity, and Mr. Polly, you've been able to lead them through this opportunity. That's pretty great. We're excited about that. I'm going to read this statement just to make sure I button it all down. And then, Sophie, I'm going to virtually present you with a certificate. So it's very exciting to be virtually presented with a certificate. It says, each winter, Columbia Heights High School English teacher Chris Polly coaches interested students for the event Poetry Out Loud, a nationwide poetry recitation contest for high schoolers held by the National Endowments for the Arts and Poetry Foundation. For the first time, Columbia Heights High School student has won the Minnesota State Poetry Out Loud competition hosted by South Central Service Cooperative. Sophomore Sophie Keither competed against dozens of students across the state, memorizing and reciting classic poems for a panel of judges, and she will now represent our district and state at the national finals competition taking place virtually in Washington, D.C. on May 2nd. Freshman Lily Kleinschmidt and sophomore Dan Quinn Lee also participated, and Lee also advanced from the regional competition to state along with Keither. So congratulations to all the participants. But Sophie, here is your virtual certificate. I mean, an extreme close-up, maybe like I'm handing it to you, and then I'll just, like, it's yours. And it will magically appear probably in your mailbox, is my guess. So I see the clap. There it is. Let's give Sophie a round of applause. And hopefully we'll get to hear great things in one of our board topics down the way about how this all went. So keep us up to date. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all so much.
All right, goodbye. Don't feel like you have to hang on the meeting. It's real exciting stuff. But we will, which feels anticlimactic, we'll move on to agenda approval, adjustments, announcements, and correspondence. And we'll begin with an approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion to move that forward?
So moved.
That is Lorian. Second?
Second, Hala.
Hala, second. Any discussion on the agenda? All right, roll call vote, please.
Lewis,
Aye.
Samurai,
Aye.
Mueller,
Aye.
Severson,
Aye.
Palmer, aye.
All right, motion carries. We will move on to, hold on, gotta do some virtual things here. We'll move on to announcements. Coming up here on March 9th through, March 29th through April 2nd is no school for spring break. April 8th and 9th, there's also no school. On April 13th, Tuesday at 7 p.m., there's a regular school board meeting here in the community room or via electronic means. On April 20th, Tuesday at 5:30 p.m., there's a school board work session also here in the community room and via electronic means. And April 27th, Tuesday at 7 p.m., there's another regular school board meeting here in the community room and via electronic means. We'll move on to correspondence. Superintendent Stenvik, is there any correspondence tonight?
Madam Chair, there's no correspondence at this time.
All right, great, thanks. We'll move on to communication to the board. At this time, any citizen or employee may briefly address the school board. The board will listen to the brief remarks, ask clarifying questions, and if desired, request that administration follow up. The board will not take action at this meeting on requests presented at this time. Since I don't see anybody, we'll just keep right on rolling. We'll move on then to the consent agenda, which contains the personnel report. Can I get a motion to move this one forward?
So moved.
Laura?
Second, Mueller.
Second, Lorian. Any discussion on the personnel report? All right, hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Lewis,
Aye.
Samurai,
Aye.
Mueller,
Aye.
Severson,
Aye.
Palmer, aye.
All right, motion carries. We will move on to the acknowledgement of contributions. I'm going to read the motion and then I'll ask for a second. So hold on here. John has me all tabbed up here. Acknowledgements of contributions resolution. Whereas Minnesota statute 123B.02 permits school boards to receive for the benefit of the district, bequest, donations, or gifts for any purpose, proper purpose, and apply the same to the purpose designated. In that behalf, the board may act as trustee of any trust created for the benefit of the district and for the benefits of the peoples thereof. Therefore, be it resolved by the School Board of Columbia Heights Public Schools, Independent School District 13, that the board accepts with appreciation the contributions detailed in the background in the amount of $9,479. Detailed background. Monetary donations. A donation of $539 was made to Columbia Heights High School by the Columbia Heights VFW for the lacrosse team needs. A donation of $650 was made to Columbia Heights High School by the Columbia Heights VFW for the girls basketball team needs. A donation of $221 was made to Columbia Heights High School by the Heights VFW for the boys basketball team needs. A donation of $234 was made to the Columbia Heights High School by Columbia Heights VFW for bowling team needs. A donation of $110 was made to Columbia Heights High School Activities Department by the Columbia Heights Athletic Boosters for Gators for students. A donation of $300 was made to Columbia Heights High School by the Columbia Heights Athletic Boosters for football team needs. A donation of $1,350 was made to Columbia Heights High School by the Columbia Heights Athletic Boosters for boys and girls tennis needs. A donation of $300 was made to Columbia Heights High School by the Columbia Heights Athletic Boosters for football team needs. A donation of $1,760 was made to the Columbia Heights High School Activities Department by Columbia Heights Athletic Boosters for all conference polos. A donation of $1,950 was made to the Columbia Heights High School Activities Department by Columbia Heights Athletic Boosters for the New York Study Seminar Broadway Virtual Experience. A donation of $875 was made to Columbia Heights High School Activities Department by Columbia Heights Athletic Boosters for Home of Highlander signs. Values in kind. A donation of mittens was made to Highland Elementary by St. Philip's Mitten Makers for student needs, estimated value $100, for a total fiscal 2021 monetary contributions to date, $74,353.56. Could I get a motion to move that forward, please?
So moved.
Lorian, and a second?
Second.
Laura? All right. Any discussion? Yes, Laura.
Thank you, community, for our students really appreciate all this additional support, especially in trying times like these. Your generosity is so heartwarming, and it's really going to go a long way. Thank you.
Agreed. It's, we see the community organizations, VFW and the athletic boosters and St. Philip's, just being generous and contributing to the needs of students is pretty remarkable. And I'm thankful for that and the commitment to help create opportunities for kids that happen because they're part of the school community. So it's great.
Agreed.
All right, roll call vote, please.
Lewis?
Aye.
Samurai?
Aye.
Mueller?
Aye.
Severson?
Aye.
Palmer? Aye.
All right, motion carries. We'll move on to discussion, reports, information items, and we'll begin with reports from members of the board, and we'll start with Laura this week.
It's been 9:16 all the time.
16.
Yeah, so we are currently in the process of interviewing potential candidates for superintendent over at 916. The second round of interviews, we have 3 final candidates, will be held tomorrow evening. It is a public meeting, but you can only attend that virtually. So anyway, we've gone through the rounds of lots and lots of interviews. So I'm really excited. Tomorrow they're going to be doing a presentation as well as our final round of questions. So, and I'll keep y'all posted on that. Oh, one other thing too. Usually we bring this up one of the other things that I did was I actually just signed my child up to go back to hybrid. I believe that the cutoff date is the 25th. So if you were deciding to do that, you might want to take a look at that pretty quick because that's coming up real quick.
Yep, couple days.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Hala.
I attended the work session last week.
All right, thank you. We will move on to Molly.
Thanks, Natty. I also attended the work session last week and attended some in-person basketball games. And that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, that's right. You can get those section tickets now, right? All right, we'll move on to Lorian.
All right. First, I'll mention, we need to find ways to get more students to come to our school board meetings, because that little chat thing that was happening was
Yeah,
It was a
actually
lot
pretty
of
cool.
fun.
I actually had clicked on it and
Yep.
had to figure out how to minimize my screen again.
Yeah, so I really appreciate our students who chatted during the meeting. I wanted to comment that because I just thought that was pretty cool. Last week, I attended the chair meeting prior to the work session, as well as the work session, had conversations with Member Granlin, attended virtually the city council meeting and the chair meeting just prior to this.
Which then leads to me. Thanks, Lorian. I was able to attend virtual swim sections, which was really fun to see the boys swim team swim, and saw some personal bests out there and some close almost to get to state. But it was fun to watch them conclude their season and just be able to have the experience of sections, which is which is pretty great. Feels somewhat normal, even if I was just there virtually. I was at the chair meeting prior to this and was also at the work session, which then leads us on to superintendent's report. Superintendent Stenvik.
Thank you. So the local COVID case rates continue to be in that 10 to 19 range on the chart provided by the state, which puts us at, hybrid and in-person learning for elementary and hybrids for secondary. We have been in this range for about 6 weeks now, so we're holding, but we do continue to monitor the local case rates daily. As a reminder, this Friday, March 26th, will be a mostly asynchronous day for pre-K through 8th grade, and a non-school day for high school students. The high school teachers will be planning. It's one of their planning days due to the pandemic, and we are accommodating the schedule to allow for the second dose vaccine clinic. So a little bit of a different day due to that. I had the opportunity to attend a Northeast Metro District 916 superintendent meeting on the revision of their joint powers agreement, and this final document will come to the board in April or May for information and approval. I also attended a session from MASA on supervising grading practices with Director Tuckrill and Coordinator Emily Gartner. The presenter reviewed current best practices for grading, so very informative. And I appreciated conversations with Member Palmer this week. Thank you for your time.
I'm sorry. I also spoke with Zena
Right.
and attended the work session.
And attended the work session.
Yeah.
Dawn, can we get those amended, please? All right. Thank you so much, Superintendent Stenvik. We will now move on, and I will welcome Councilmember Connie Biskins from the City of Columbia Heights to give us an update on what's happening with our city.
Hi, everyone. Super excited to finally be able to see you and connect with you. I'm Connie Biskins, liaison for this school board from the city of Minneapolis. I've got a few things, and I think I'm going to save the best one for last. So first off, I'm very excited that the entire school was able to get their shots, their COVID shots, and I'm sure I got my first one today. I'm sure they felt a tremendous amount of relief and knowing that they're going to be safe from COVID. So I wanted to first acknowledge that. I'm super excited for you guys. Very happy for you. Second, we're still making progress on on the building where the old bank building was at 40th and Central Avenue. They're just now starting to set up the layout for laying the concrete for the first floor. So we'll start seeing more of the building as it goes up once that's done. So very excited about that. And also for all of you, the lot behind the public safety building will be, the developer is going to be putting in affordable housing in that lot behind there. Half the lot will be for that. The other half, they're submitting their plans, I believe, in April to the Planning Commission. And the other half of that lot is going to be used for a SECA building. They've been bursting at the seams for quite a while now, and they've been busy since January fundraising to build a new building, and their plans will be coming to us soon. So they will hopefully have a new home. It'll be a better location, closer to Central Avenue and the bus lines. And they've got a really nice layout from when we previewed it a while back before COVID. So we're super excited about that. And then once SECA moves out, we're hoping we can, our public works building is in dire need of upgrade and maintenance. And it was built in I think 60 years ago. So we're hoping in the near future to start working on that building, but that'll be, like I said, a couple of years from now. But that space that SECA has now will probably become available to help us with that. And so those are the first three things. My final one, I'm super, super duper excited about. At our last work session, the council staff asked us if we were interested in setting up a youth commission, like we have the other commissions, and everyone is on board. So staff, council said yes. So we are working on that, and I'm super excited about it. I mean, there's so many things they could be doing in that youth commission, connecting with other youth commissions from other cities. We now have a landscape architect that's on our park and rec commission. I mean, they could do projects like designing. She could teach them how to design their own park space or something they want in the park. Same thing with planning, learning from planning employees how to plan certain parts of a city and create their own city design, things they want to see in our city. There's so much potential with that commission and so many things that they can do So we're super excited about it. Hopefully we'll get it set it up in a couple months, and I can't wait. I almost want to be a kid again so I could be on it. So anyway, that's we're doing again. We have our 100-year celebration this year. We have lots of plans coming up. Nothing that I know of for this coming month, but there'll be more activities coming up soon. So next month, I hope to give you guys an update of future activities that people can join in to celebrate our 100th year anniversary. So thank you, and again, it's very nice to see you all.
Good to see you, Connie. Board members, do you have any questions for Councilwoman Biskins?
I just have one question.
Go ahead.
See, I live on 40th. When are we going to get our turn lane back? That is a really narrow little lane right there. I know it's going to be a while. That was the only thing I had a question about.
Yeah, I don't have a status on that. I could check for you, so maybe next month I could tell you if it's still blocked. I know they're going to be closing Gould on the other side just for the trucks with the concrete when they start pouring the floor. So I know that's coming up soon. So yeah, sorry, apologize for that. It'll be over soon.
Yeah, well, it's nice to get rid of that eyesore, so I'm
Yes.
excited to see a new building go up there, and,
Yep.
you know, and it is really interesting being able to see all those houses. I didn't realize there were so many
Yep.
houses up on that hill there. So
Yep.
it's kind of cool.
Yep. So yeah, we're moving ahead.
Yeah.
So thank you. Cool.
Paula, I see you unmuted.
Yep. Connie, thank you for the update, and it's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Yep, thanks for coming.
Yep.
Thanks
Can't
for,
wait to see you guys in person.
all right, yeah, same. Congrats on that vaccine.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. We will move on to Student Wellness Committee, and I will introduce Director of Community Education and Communications, Kristen Stunkel.
Good evening, Chair Severson, members of the board, Superintendent Stenvik. I'm here this evening with two student representatives, Amara Thompson and Godwin Kasongoma, and we are going to present about the Student Wellness Committee. This is a new committee for this year, and it's been a real joy to have the students and to have the staff and teachers join together to really focus in on student wellness. So this Student Wellness Committee, the purpose of it is to ensure compliance with the Columbia Heights Public School Wellness Policy and to ensure input by stakeholders into Columbia Heights Public School programs and activities that are included in the wellness policy. The purpose of the wellness policy is to set forth methods that promote student wellness, prevent and reduce childhood obesity, and assure that school meals and other food and beverages sold and otherwise made available on the school campus during the school day are consistent with applicable minimum local, state, and federal standards. The key areas of the Student Wellness Policy and Committee are nutrition promotion and education, physical activity, school gardens, communication with parents, and school meals and competitive food and beverages. Though it's not in the student wellness policy, we also discuss student well-being, their mental and emotional health. The committee meets 3 times a year, and then we also have some subcommittees that meet outside of that committee time. And those subcommittees are for Blooming Heights, for student well-being, and then after spring break, a nutrition subcommittee and a food service subcommittee will be meeting. This is just an informational item today. And now I want to hand the floor over to Amara and Godwin so that they can share with you some of their experiences of being on the committee. Amara, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I can. Hi, board. I'm I'm mainly part of the student wellness / mental emotional health subcommittee, and I don't know. It was something that I was asked about by my ex-health teacher, Miss Knudsen, and I thought that it was a really cool opportunity, so I signed up not really knowing what to expect. And I just think it's really cool because the staff that are there really do care about like the students' health and their mental well-being, and it's really clear that they do because they put in so much effort There's like a Google Classroom full of like things to help people's mental health and exercises and things like that. So it's like a really well put together committee, and I personally have enjoyed it a lot because the discussions are really fun. Getting to meet like all the people there is really fun. And I don't think it's something that's that well known about. Like most of my friends that ask don't even know it's a thing. So I don't know. I'm hoping that this next year, provided we still have it, we can like promote it more to students because I think it's a really cool opportunity for sure. And then Godwin, you can say whatever.
Yeah, I'm also in the mental awareness and mental health subcommittee. I think the teachers, I just want to highlight the teachers, they've been such a great resource to enrich the program with more knowledge and information on mental health. Every meeting that I attend, it honestly encourages me and pushes me to edify and also adhere it to my life because with the lockdown and everything, I had to set a priority and focus more on time management and turn assignments in on time. So it have taken a toll on my mental health and that stability. So being part of the program and also utilizing these great resources, this great suggestions that teachers and also the students that are in the committee gives out and shares. It has helped me to set this time management and to catch up with missing work, to catch up with assignments. Because at one point I became so unmotivated that I had to put my foot down and encourage myself to be firm on catching up with assignments, on turning assignments on time. And the program also not only helped to edify me, but it also encouraged me to edify my community. I'm in a big family, so I try to address the importance of mental health and mental stability to my parents and also my siblings and also my friends and also my community to take it seriously and to focus on that and to find that stability. Yeah.
Thank you, Amara and Godwin. And based on what the students have shared at our committee meetings, our subcommittee meetings, through some surveys that they've done, through outside conversations, we really have emphasized this Healthy Highlanders approach, activity cards. We've communicated with administrators and shared with them some of the insights that the students have shared with us. We are here for the students, and the student well-being and is so paramount in addition to their education. And I'm just honored to get to have the time with the students and the staff centered on student wellness. Thank you very much.
Wow, that's so cool to hear about. This is the first time we've been
First year.
presented.
This is the first year.
This is the first year. Wow, that's pretty incredible. How exciting for you to be a part of this, and I think particularly as it addresses student mental health at such a, well, interesting, is that the polite word to describe this past 12 months? Interesting time for everyone's mental health. Really, congratulations on taking leadership for your community in that area. Other board members have comments or questions? Lorian, I saw a hand.
Yeah, just at first, I want to thank our two students, Godwin and Amara, for joining us today virtually. It's never easy to talk to the board, especially, I think, virtually, or maybe that's easier. I don't know. But thank you. I truly feel inspired by you today and by Director Stunkel, your work. It just, thank you. I'm a little speechless. I'm just feeling a little kind of emotional over here of what you guys are doing and just involving the students in this. I think it's incredible. And thank you both for sharing today.
Molly, I saw you unmute.
Yeah, thank you. A lot of what Lorian said, but I just wanted to take a minute to thank you both for not only your work that you're doing, but also for being here. And then especially to you, Godwin. Did I say your name correctly?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. Thank you. I mean, what you shared with us tonight at this meeting, you know, it took a lot of bravery and strength. And I commend you. In my professional career, I'm a social worker. And what you said speaks to all of the work that I've been doing professionally over the last year and for the impact that you're having and your community, I'm sure your peers, keep doing that. Keep speaking out. It is so important for people to hear their peers talk about it. So thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Director Stunkel, for the work you're doing with us. Appreciate you. And all of the teachers. I know that this emphasis has been there. It's really great to hear it from the students as well.
Laura, I saw that hand right as Molly's went up, so go ahead.
Yeah, I heard someone mention something about like a Google Classroom or Google format. How would students be able to access and participate in some of these activities?
That was something that we discussed at one of our meetings, was sending out the code to the Google Classroom. And I heard that one of the teachers was going to email Mr. Robleski about sending out an email for students. I don't know if that ever happened, but yeah.
We'll follow up on that.
Thank you, Director Stunkel.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments? Mary, I see you are unmuted. Welcome, by the way.
Yes, I apologize for being late, and if it was at all avoidable, I would have been here. I am so incredibly excited to go ahead and watch the video to be able to see some of the things you guys talked about. I think, again, it does take a lot of courage to come in. So thank you all so much, and I apologize again for coming in at the end. Especially when we're talking about something that's so near and dear to my heart, as also a social worker like Molly. So thank you for joining us tonight. It means so very much.
All right. Thank you for joining us tonight. We are so thrilled. What a fun night to have all the students joining us. It's very exciting.
It's like the best meeting
This
ever.
is really, I gotta say, typically these meetings aren't the most exciting. It's good. We're doing good work here, but definitely not all that exciting. And you guys have really stepped it up for us. So thank you for joining us. You can feel free to log off now. You don't have to stay for the rest. If you're interested, we love it. If students are interested in what the board's doing, feel free, but no pressure. All right, thank you so much. We will move on to the Key Club update, which is also with Director Stunkel. Can you introduce your team with you?
Yes, Chair
Thank you.
Severson, members of the board, Superintendent Stenvik. This evening, I am here with Key Club High School Faculty Advisor Dan Cheetah, with high school Key Club members Aldo Cardoza Hilguera and Drake Pham, and also with the Kiwanis advisor to Key Club, Dale Schutz. And we are here this evening to really celebrate the award that Dale Schutz, who has served our Key Club for years and years, I think over 15 years. He recently received the Outstanding District Key Club Advisor Award for the Minnesota and Dakota's Key Club District. And I'm here this evening in order that the two of the students who nominated him can speak to what Dale has meant for them and to the Key Club. But first, I'm going to hand the floor over to Dan Cheetah. Is he? Oh, there he is. Okay, scanning the Zoom screen. So, Mr. Cheetah, if you will please speak to the Key Club. Thank you.
So if you're not familiar with what Key Club is, it is an internationally student-led organization with its goal to make the world a better place through service. And we coordinate with Kiwanis, they're our partners, and with Dale as the leader, they've been more than our partners, they've been the leaders, or Dale has been the leader. And it has a dual goal of not only providing service, but also developing student leaders. And I can be proud to say from this meeting that Amara and Godwin and Sophie are all Key Club members. In fact, Amara was a district board member most recently. So I've been very privileged and lucky to serve with such great students because they have really taken over, and I have to emphasize, with COVID, it easily could have just been set aside for a year, but the two presidents, Drake, who was the president up until February, and Aldo, who's the current president, kept Key Club alive through COVID. They've had regular meetings on Zoom. They've got students out volunteering, even with COVID. And Dale, despite the fact that he would be a vulnerable COVID person, has been at every event you can possibly imagine, not just this year, but for every year for the 15 years that I've been involved in Key Club. So without saying any more, I'm going to turn it over to Drake and Aldo to talk about the award and district convention.
All right, I can go first. So this award was given to Dale for being the advisor of the year for the Key Club year of 2020 to 2021. And it is actually a yearly award that is given out at the district convention, which happens annually in March. And how to nominate your advisor for the award, what you have to do is you have to put together a message of 300 words, or a little bit less than that, and just saying how the advisor fits the description for the award, what they have done to earn it, and all your experiences of their kindness and gratitude towards the Key Club and its members. And so what we felt like, basically, we felt like it was about time that Dale was recognized for his hard work and dedication to the Key Club. And so what we did is we took all of our board members from last year's term, we had a meeting, and we all sat down and tried to remember our experiences with Dale at the certain Key Club events, meetings, and just anywhere in between. And so we all worked and put together a message of 300 words and sent it off to the district board and the people who work with the awards over there. And there's just so many experiences and great situations where Dale has just come through as an incredible human being, and with showing his dedication to the club. So I think that's pretty good for general information. Aldo, if you want to speak on any certain circumstances where you felt like Dale has went above and beyond.
Yeah, so Dale has done many great things in our Key Club. One of them being that we wrote in the letter is Dale, I think it was the 2019 for the district convention. He drove like 7 Key Clubbers to the district convention, which is 4 hours away or so, 2 hours away, maybe it was a 4-hour drive, which really shows how shows his kindness. And he has also provided us with food at many events, and he's always updating us with more events in the future. And Dale is just someone who we could easily talk to. When I joined Key Club in 2019, he welcomed me with open arms. He's such a incredible Kiwanis advisor, and I don't think our Key Club would be the same without him. He's really shown, the time I have been here in Key Club, he has shown incredible things to me, and he's always just talking about, just about many things that always, most of the time, makes me laugh, and it's just so fun to hear his stories. And yeah, I think it was about time that Dale gets something to just show his commitment and his dedication to our club. I really think that he's one of the best people I've ever met. He has welcomed me in the club when I first joined, and I'm so glad that he's our Kiwanis advisor. And there's just so many great things to be said about him. And yeah, that's all I have to say.
And we want to give Dale a chance to speak, but I can't miss this opportunity to say, in addition to all of the amazing acts of service, that Dale has provided over the years. Dale is also on our Community Ed Advisory Council and volunteers when we do early childhood screening in person. There's just hardly a moment or an event of service in our community that in which you won't find Dale. So Dale, we'd love for you to have an opportunity now to share with the school board what this award means to you.
Well, I want to thank my key clubbers. It's truly, truly appreciated. I feel that.
Oh, Dale, you went muted.
Dale, you muted yourself.
There we go.
I always say they're really all stars to me. You know, they're family. We're family, really. And some of the things that really have impressed me with the leadership and others in Key Club is the maturity, the caring, the way that they've been very inclusive of everyone who joins Key Club to make sure they really feel a part of that, including me as a Kiwanis advisor. And when I thought about them, you know, for many years we've had values first. We've had values listed on the wall, school walls, and they really incorporate those values, whether it's respect, whether it's integrity, whether it's caring. And our country is in fantastic shape with people who are leaders like that. Leadership. We have a lot of fun together. I look forward to the times where we can go to conventions and the events we have. And it's just been a real blessing for me in my life to be able to be with them and to have them as part of my very special relationship. I want to also thank Dan Cheetah. I haven't kept track, but I think Dan and I have been together probably at least 10 years. And, you know, he's been great to work with. He's great for Key Club. The Key Clubbers really love him. He's got kind of a light sense of humor. He's also very dedicated to the students. So if they're having problems with the given academic issue, he's there to help them out with that. And this is another part of the Key Clubbers. Their dedication to service is amazing. And I'm thinking way back, this particular group right now we're with, most of them started out as freshmen. Now they've been juniors, and the dedication through all that time has been fantastic. And I think, as Dan mentioned, this particular year is a challenging year. I can remember in the fall, I had asked Drake one time, I said, well, how many Key Clubbers do you think we'll have this year? Because we're not meeting in person. And I believe it was Drake said, well, 25. Well, in the fall, in September, we began a recruiting thing. We had a meeting at Cordiac Park where students were invited to come and decide to become members of the Key Club. Well, it turned out that we ended up with 47 instead of 25. And many of them at the district convention received distinguished status. So Drake, as the president, was distinguished president, and Aldo, distinguished vice president, Quat, distinguished publicist. Amara Thompson received an award for a slam poem she did, and it was fantastic. I listened to that poem and I said, you know, I thought I was in Washington, D.C. at the inauguration listening to Amanda when she gave this slam poem. And I can remember just a couple of years ago when she was first in Key Club, we were at the convention, and there were always contests Saturday afternoon, whether it's talent. It could be oratory is another part of competition. And so that year anyway, Amara hadn't prepared ahead of time for it, but she said, you know, I'm going to go for the oratory contest. And she became a part of that, and she was so fantastic in that. She won, I think it wasn't first place, but close to first place for her oratory. And so I just can't imagine not having them to be with, to be honest. So thank all of you, and I know they really understand how they can make a real difference in our community, our school community, our city community, and also the world through the service that they're doing. So thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dale, for your service to our students, and Mr. Cheetah for yours, and of course, Director Stonkel for your hard work, and kids. Wow, we're proud of you, and we're hopeful that you show the kind of life of service that you've seen exemplified in these adults, and continue to do this as you grow up and give back to your community. Board members, do you have any comments or questions? Mary.
I want to say thank you. Over the years, I've had an opportunity to see a number of students in Ski Club from a number, at a number of events, either, boxing up food to help at Seika, for us to bring it to families in need, or coming into Valley View for game night to help us set up so we can have, family interactions. And it's so delightful, because never has it seemed at all like it was a bother. This is just something that the kids have to do. Everyone, it seems like all of you were truly happy to be doing these things and being a part of our community, and it shows. And I am sorry, I'm tearing up a little bit, because it means so much to see this, and to see you, all of you coming up and for really prioritizing being involved in your community and giving back. And I hope that you know how much it means to all of us. And we see you, and thank you all, and the adults who are there and nurturing and encouraging and supporting all of these fantastic students and scholars. Thank you for all of your hard work with that. Again, these are things that can never be quantified. It's incredibly important, and I truly thank you from the bottom of my heart, both as a community member and as a school board member.
Lori, and I saw that hand go up.
Yeah, I'm not sure I can follow that really, but
give her a shot.
I'll give it a shot. I think, Dale, I had the opportunity to serve with you on the Community Education Advisory Council for a number of years, and when I think of Dale, I think of your passion for Key Club. It oozes from your pores. And you've obviously have shared that with our students, and it's an incredible experience that you have helped provide to them, and Mr. Cheetah as well. And students, again, you guys went above and beyond. Instead of just doing kind of the above and beyond that you already do, you went even further and took the time and the effort to recognize somebody so important in our community. And thank you for taking the time to that. Rewarding and recognizing people who aren't in it for the rewards and recognition. It's important to let them know that they're valued, and you did that. So thank you very much for providing that recognition.
Molly.
Thanks, Natty. Congratulations, Dale. This is just incredible to hear. It's incredible to hear not only the work that you're doing, but also in this informal role of mentoring. It sounds like our students are just benefiting so much, and you are growing some great leaders along with the rest of the adults involved. I know a couple of these individuals personally, and Aldo and Drake, you guys are phenomenal. Thank you so much for what you're doing for our community. And Dale, thank you for all of the hours and volunteering and the impact you've had on our community.
All right, Laura.
Congratulations, Dale. Something that you said really struck me is there's a lot of hope for our future. It's because of great mentors like you and the students that really see the value in community involvement and going above and beyond. So I'm very proud of all of you, and I really do think you're going to make the world a better place.
All right, Hala.
Yeah, so first off, I want to say, Dale, congratulations. It's wonderful that you're finally being recognized in this way. I want to say thank you to the staff who are working in this capacity, to Kristen Stunkel, to Mr. Shida, anybody else who's involved in this, and then finally, and most importantly, the students who are doing all this work. Your impact is huge, so I want you to know that you're appreciated.
Thanks, everyone, for your kind comments. I do have a question for Mr. Shida. Do you have this much fun chatting with them while they're in class, or is this just like special during board meetings? Just curious.
I have to say, this group of people, yes, in class, they are every bit the superstars they appear to be.
All right. Must be exciting teaching this crew then.
Yep.
So I'm excited for you. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us tonight. It was very glad. It's very awesome to have you all. I will move on to the annual capital project levy update with a bit of fear and trepidation for Director Hennekins, as he did not bring a student with him, I'm pretty sure. But it looks like he brought Corey. So, I mean, bonus points.
Thank you, Chair Severson, members of the board, and Superintendent Stenbeck. Yes, incredibly hard to follow that. I'm going to stop sharing quick here, and I'm going to move this presentation over. And
While you're doing that, can I interject one more thing?
Sure, we'll go back. Go back to Key Club update. Go ahead, Dale.
I want to recognize Kristen for every year she provides an opportunity at the Educational Advisory Board meeting for people to hear about Key Club and to hear from the Key Clubbers about their program. So that's really a special opportunity that Kristen provides for us. So thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night. We will move back on over to the capital projects, making it even harder on Brian.
yeah, you really can't follow that.
Yep.
Thank you, Chair Severson, members of the board, and Superintendent Stenbeck. I can't say that I can make conversations about capital projects and parking lots and boilers as exciting as what we just heard. And frankly, I'm not even going to try. But this evening, this is our annual capital projects levy update. I have Corey Metling, Deputy Director of Technology and Security, with me tonight. So I'll start the presentation with our mission. Columbia Heights Public Schools, creating worlds of opportunity for each and every learner. All belong, all succeed. And our core values, again, this annual presentation is related to projects that are funded through voter-approved capital projects levy back from 2014. So we really feel that as we move through this process from the start of asking the voters for approval for this additional funding all the way through spending all of this money, that we're reaching all of our core values. And again, the capital projects levy was approved by the voters in 2014, 60% for facilities, 40% for technology. And on the facility side, these really exciting things like repairing roofs, windows, doors, plumbing, and casework, replacing, repairing furnaces or boilers, repairing water damage and siding, brick tuck pointing, resurfacing the athletic track, improving signage, and repairing parking and driveways. So just kind of a review, summer of 2019, as in the past, we kind of look back a couple years to remind people what we've done and then forecast for the next year. So in the summer of 2019, summers are a big project time. We had the track at the high school that we resurfaced and finished, and finally this spring, we're excited to have students finally being able to use that track. Summer of 2020, so this past summer, we had the parking and drive reconfiguration at North Park Elementary. Those that some of you may remember that Capital Projects Levy did pay for the reconfiguration at Highland Elementary and then also at Valley View Elementary, and so now it's finally getting to North Park Elementary for that drive reconfiguration. So the picture here is before things were striped, just after they put the blacktop down. So On the right-hand side, the new drive coming off the street, separated from the parking lot by the sidewalk there, and a row of plants. That's that new bus entrance drop off and pick up. And then on the far left, top left of the picture is the entrance to the parking lot and the parent drop off. So again, separating the parents drop off from the buses, and which was one of the ultimate goals for each of the elementary sites, separating that traffic, making that process safer. So for the summer of 21, this summer, we have new boilers at Valley View Elementary, and this is a bid out project that the board has already approved and we're moving forward with for this summer, which will start right as school's ending. And we are also looking at for this summer, we don't have a project locked in for this yet, but we're looking at the feasibility of starting some parking lot resurfacing that's needed across the district, and looking at to see, you know, how we can fit that into the summer, hopefully towards the end of the summer. So on the capital or on the facility side, those are our major projects for this year. Again, taking 60% of those of the yearly capital projects levy revenues. And with that, to talk about technology, I will turn over to Corey.
Thank you, Director Hennekens. Good evening, Chair Severson, members of the board, and Superintendent Stenvik. I will pick up where Director Hennekens left off and talk a bit about the equally exciting things in the ways that the funds from the capital projects levy have been used on the technology side. So as in previous years, we have focused on improving parent and student portal technology systems, increasing technology systems for safety and security, improving networks and infrastructure capacity for network access, acquiring technology devices, and installing, replacing, supporting, and maintaining software and related training. So these are all things that were discussed when the levy was proposed, and having been able to make these improvements and purchases over the past year, several years, really put us in a good position when everything had to shift to distance learning model over the past year. So in the 2019 to 20 school year, we expanded our personalized learning initiative with one-to-one devices to grades 3 through 12. And in this current school year, we have expanded that even further to second grade in light of the distance learning requirements. We also have been able to use some CARES Act funding to purchase devices that helped us get to a more true one-to-one down through to even pre-K4. And those lower grades will continue to be evaluated as to what the replacement cycle will look like for them and how that will relate to the capital projects levy funds. We've also been upgrading classroom AV systems, which now that more students are returning to the classrooms, our teachers are able to use them. And continuing professional development programming has been extremely valuable as well, as our staff continue to adjust to the needs of business. For the 2021 to 2022 school year, we will again continue to use the funds for technology integration staff to support technology and instruction and professional development programming for our staff. We will continue to update more of our older classroom AV systems and maintain a one-to-one device to student ratio for grades 2 through 12. The plan is to purchase new devices for every new second grade, sixth grade, and ninth grade class. So new second graders will use that device they receive until they complete fifth grade and move to the middle school. New sixth graders will use their same device until they complete eighth grade and move to the high school. And every new ninth grader will use that device they receive until they graduate. And when those devices are finished being used by the assigned students, they generally have about a year's window of use left in them before they're no longer able to be updated and the hardware starts to wear down. So then we kind of reposition them and use them as needed throughout the district, whether to have extra devices on hand for testing purposes or for loaners to give to students when they need to turn their device in due to problems that need to be fixed, things like that. Of course, over the past year, it helped us greatly to have these semi-retired devices, which we were able to use to provide to the younger students that were not previously part of our one-to-one initiative, so they could still participate in classes from home if a family did not have a personal device. That concludes our update. Thank you for the time, and we welcome any questions you may have.
All right, thank you so much. Questions from the board? Laura?
I just have a comment. It was so looking forward to the future to see that we really were going to need the 40% of the levy for technology, and just how incredibly vital it was this year. You know, we were looking at just updating our systems before, but this has just absolutely been critical, and you've done an amazing job with keeping everything in budget and keeping the devices working, and the support's been great. I just can't say enough. Oh, and thank you for tuck pointing all the bricks. I didn't want to leave out the capital levy. That's exciting too.
We joke that, I mean, I made the joke prior to this that, you know, it's not as exciting as having the students on, but just the very fact that they have roads to drive on, the school buildings are standing, your work is creating opportunity for all of that learning, all of that poetry writing, all of the service to happen. So we're thankful for it, and we're thankful for our community, for
Yes.
Hilltop and Columbia Heights and Southern Fridley as their tax dollars support these initiatives. So thank you to both of you for your management of it, and also to the taxpayers. Lorian?
Yeah, I want to reiterate that, Natty. I think it's important to talk to the taxpayers and the voters in our community who passed this levy a number of years ago, and it really put us in a position to be able to provide the supports that our students need and have needed, and that our teachers and staff, and to have the funding. It's not just enough to buy equipment, but to have the educational tools and the support to help our teachers and staff and students use the technology has been critical. I think we've all learned how valuable that is. And I don't know if this is the appropriate time or place, but we're giving kudos away today, so I'm going to continue with the kudos piece. But for Corey and Brian both, and for your teams, the pandemic has been tough, but knowing that it's been really tough on buildings and grounds, and being prepared in new ways of having materials and supplies and products that everybody else in the world also wants, and technology that everybody else in the world also wants. And you guys did it, and your teams did it, and you provided what our students need and what our staff need to be educated, to have the opportunities that our students have had, and to be here safely. So thanks for you guys, and the continued efforts on spending the tax dollars wisely, being good stewards of the money that has been given to us to do what needs to be done, and for the update today. But thank you all for your whole team.
Thank you.
Molly?
Yeah, I'll keep it short, but everything that Lorian said. Basically, we've talked in previous board meetings about how in Columbia Heights, I feel like our students in this district have just had an incredible opportunity this past year. We've seen other districts that haven't had quite as much success or connection to their teachers, peers, all of that. And so just know that your work has been known, valued, appreciated, and kudos to both of you and your team. So thank you from me as well. And our students. As much as they might not always love that they're super well connected and have had all these great opportunities because they are being pushed academically, it is so good for them. So good for them.
Yeah, we were in a position of strength going into it, relative strength, you know, and we got off running really fast with distance learning, so we're thankful for that. Thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, we will move on to Superintendent Stenvik and Director Tuckroll, and it looks like Emily Gardner too. And we will hear more about the upcoming learning model, or the present learning model also.
Quarter 4 learning model.
Quarter
yes.
4 learning model.
Chair Severson, members of the board, it is time for our Quarter 4 learning model update as part of our phased plan for safe learning this year. course, our mission is creating worlds of opportunity for each and every learner. All belong, all succeed. And this encompasses all of our core values: community, excellence, collaboration, integrity, respect, courage, and innovation. So per our plan this year, this is an informational update. There'll be no governance at this time. So just a recap of our 4-phased model. So Heights from Home, modified hybrid, where we have just a small group of students on campus. Full hybrid, which is what we're in right now, and that can vary from what we're doing right now at elementary, which is 4 days a week on campus, to what we're currently doing at the secondary level, which is 2 different groups, 2 days a week on campus. And then the 4th phase is full on-site, every day on campus, all students. Of course, any of the phases, there's always the opportunity to choose Heights from Home for the families. So as we look at how we could transition between different phases, transitions to a more restrictive phase can happen at any time during the school year if there's an increase in COVID case rates. Each quarter, we've determined that every quarter we will reevaluate where we're at and determine the phase. Prior to the end of the quarter, the school board will be asked to approve a transition if the local case rates are such that the district or a school or a specific grade level is able to operate in a less restrictive phase, meaning more kids coming back on campus. And between the transitions, there will be planning time. The Department of Education allows districts to use up to 5 instructional days for staff to plan the change of the delivery model. There's many, many considerations that we have been looking at this school year to determine the learning model. We get regular guidance from the Department of Education and the Department of Health, and sometimes things change quite frequently. We take into consideration family requests for Heights from Home, which is our robust version of distance learning. We connect with our regional support team, which is public health officials that have been assigned to us. And we look at our staffing capacity. So throughout the year, we have received and been honoring staff that provide doctor's notes with an underlying medical condition or another qualifying condition. Looking and analyzing our local COVID-19 data. And then more recently, we've been able to have the opportunity to offer COVID-19 vaccines for all staff who wishes to have the vaccine. So this is where we're at. This is the chart from the Department of Education looking at the number of local case rates per 10,000. So we have been really staying in that range of 10 to 19, so in-person for elementary and hybrid for secondary. We are watching the greater Minnesota cases on a daily basis and monitoring our local cases on a daily basis. So as of today, we're still in this range. And we're keeping a close eye on it. Of course, our philosophy this year has been that health and safety has been a top priority, right, for students, staff, and families. Earlier in the year, you all remember, in November, our cases were in the red and even above that 50, or in that 50 range and above 50 plus. And so we went into full distance learning, Heights from Home, for all grades at that time. So as I mentioned, we're still, for about 6 weeks now, we've still been at the same level. Here's kind of a timeline of where we've been at in terms of quarter 3 and looking now at quarter 4. So in quarter 3 is when we had a shift to hybrid learning from modified hybrid. And looking at quarter 4, April 12, maintaining that hybrid learning, but based on the family opt-in information, there are some of our elementary schools that will be adding, for example, a first grade classroom or a kindergarten classroom or a 5th grade classroom. It's not across the board. It's very individual based on the family choice. So that's happening. And then looking at, maintaining in that yellow zone of hybrid for secondary. So with that, I believe I'll pass it over to Director Tuckroll.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Severson, members of the board, Superintendent Stenvik. We wanted to share a little about what the hybrid model looks like at elementary and secondary currently. In elementary, as mentioned here, we have a dedicated Heights from Home teacher, and we have dedicated teachers for on-site instruction to support in-person learning. Both Heights from Home and on-site are focused in on grade level standards. Teachers have the opportunity to work together district-wide at a grade level or in a specialty area to really determine and plan together. So all of our students are receiving that rigorous coursework. And we also have, in both Heights from Home and on-site, opportunities to support students academically, with mental health, students with IEPs, multilingual students. And one neat thing that has happened this year, we've had the opportunity to have one day at home. As Superintendent Stenvik mentioned, we're in hybrid. So 4 days a week, the students on site come, and 1 day a week they're in distance learning. And on that day, they're in the same schedule as the students from Heights from Home, and they're receiving specialists. So the teacher does morning meeting, and then after that, the students have specialists for the rest of the day. And during that day, it gives the opportunity for teachers district-wide to meet and work on PLCs. They do some planning, they look at assessments, and they're also able to connect with families and students as needed. In secondary, we're currently in a 2-group model. We're also in hybrid there as well, as students are on site at the high school or Columbia Academy for 4 days, and they're on site for 2 days of the 4, depending on which group they're in. So we took the group of on-site learners and divided them into 2 groups, an A group and a B group. And one group comes in on Monday, Tuesday, and the next group comes in on Wednesday, Thursday. And then that other day, all students are learning at home. So it's distance learning that day. We currently still have about 50% of our families choosing Heights from Home, which is giving us an average of 7 to 8 students learning on site in a classroom. And we can't have students with us tonight in the presentation, but we do have beautiful pictures, so we're trying with that one. And then another opportunity we have is looking at to continue the hybrid model, but looking at the 1-group model. So in a 1-group model, this is similar to elementary. And in this case, all students who are choosing on-site learning would come on site for 4 days a week, and then still have that 1 day of distance learning at home. In this case, we would average about 15 students learning on site in the classroom. And this would be dependent upon students who are opting in, so the number of students who are choosing on site, as well as staff capacity. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to our Professional Development Coordinator, Emily Gartner, to talk a little about concurrent teaching. In both the 1-group and the 2-group hybrid models for secondary, our teachers are using concurrent teaching to support in-person and our remote learners.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Severson, members of the board, Superintendent Stenvik. So as Tara said, I'm going to be telling you a little bit more about what hybrid learning looks like at secondary. So what is concurrent teaching? The most straightforward definition is that concurrent teaching is teaching in person and remote learners simultaneously. So students at school and at home have access to the same content, but delivery of that content is going to look different based on where they are. We're saying that concurrent teaching is best suited to secondary students since they are able to be a little bit more independent. And there are various models for how concurrent teaching can occur, and we'll look at some of those models soon. So for concurrent teaching in Columbia Heights, remote learners are continuing to access their class time via Zoom. The on-site learners are not receiving their primary instruction via Zoom. Regardless of where they are, all students will meet during the same block of time, have live interaction with their teacher, and have opportunities to engage with content, practice skills, receive teacher-provided feedback, and of course have access to the same standards, curriculum, and rigor of learning experiences. So as we selected the models that we were going to present to teachers as we were preparing for hybrid learning, we spent a lot of time digging into research, talking to districts that have been doing concurrent teaching longer than we have, seeing what has worked for them, what lessons they have learned, and then really looking at which models would provide those must-haves that we had. So that live instruction, the opportunity for feedback, really being able to connect with their teacher and receive what they needed regardless of where students were learning. So these are the 4 models that were presented to teachers. So the first one is multiple mini lessons. So in that model, students are experiencing kind of short bursts of live instruction, multiple mini lessons within a class block, and then alternating that instruction with bursts of independent practice and processing. And then during that independent time, the teacher has an opportunity to either physically circulate the room and check in on the in-person students or check in on their Zoom students, check the chat, make sure that students are on track and that they have what they need. The station rotation model is another one. So students rotate, which is in quotes because they're of course not physically rotating, but rotating through various learning stations, various activities within a class period, which might include online, offline, independent, or teacher-led activities. So again, smaller groups of students working on something. Teacher is able to then check in with groups of students and kind of target their time that way. In the flipped instruction model, the direct instruction is primarily delivered via pre-recorded video lessons, which allows the teacher to focus their time on student practice and support. And we actually had some teachers who were doing flipped instruction even prior to this because they really felt like their time was best used in that small group or one-on-one student check-in and conferencing. And the video lesson really freed them up to provide that support. And then the fourth model we presented was the flip-flop model. So in that model, the teacher is focusing on one group of students at a time. So maybe starting with their remote learners, providing a lesson for them, giving them something to work on, and then shifting their focus to their in-person learners. So in that model, students are spending about half their time working live with the teacher, half their time working independently, probably with some sort of whole group opening and closing together. Of course, there's a lot of flexibility within these four models. So depending on what the goals are for the lesson that day, a teacher might choose flip-flop. The next day, maybe multiple mini lessons lends itself better to the learning targets for the day. So a lot of flexibility even within these four models. So as we prepared for hybrid, we of course wanted teachers to be very familiar with these models and to have some experience with them. So we provided 3 professional development sessions for both CA and the high school around concurrent teaching. So in the first session, teachers received the definition of concurrent teaching, an overview of all of the models. And then in the follow-up sessions, we gave the opportunity for teachers to actually experience the model. So teachers learned about multiple mini lessons through a multiple mini lesson format. They learned about flip-flop through experiencing a flip-flop format. So really wanted to make sure that they had both the information about what that model looked like, but also an experience of being a student in that model so that they could really get an idea of how it might work in their class. Teachers also have ongoing support from Leslie Maher, who is our personalized learning facilitator for secondary. She did a lot of the planning leading into this, but she is also kind of the go-to support person for teachers. She's available to meet with them, to lesson plan with them, to observe their classes and give them feedback if they're looking for ideas. So she's been very, very busy this year and has been really key to making this successful. And then regular check-ins and support from their PLC teams, administrators, and teaching and learning staff. So of course, we remain dedicated to supporting all students, whether they are on site or off. So again, all of our students are receiving that strong instruction, following state standards, getting live interaction and feedback daily from teachers, whether they are doing that via Zoom or in person, social, emotional, and mental health supports, and access to services such as EL and special education. Our students who are on site are, of course, following mask policy and requirements, social distancing, bringing their own charged device to school to use every day. We have, of course, classroom capacity, regular disinfecting and cleaning, and then they're getting that support in person during class from their teacher. Students who are in offsite learning get additional support on those flexible learning days, so that Friday that's really dedicated to providing additional support. Getting support via Zoom during class, and also getting opportunities for support from teachers during those teachers' office hours. And with that, I'm going to pass it back to Superintendent Stenvik, who will give us some updates on how we are keeping staff and students safe.
Yep. So other considerations that we've looked at throughout the school year, of course, are the testing, vaccinations, and PPE. So we are now offering and able to offer bi-weekly COVID-19 tests at school for staff and that are on site. Emily mentioned the training on on the instructional practices, but there's also been extensive training on the safety and logistics for staff. Mentioned earlier that our second dose vaccination clinic is happening this Friday. There's also additional opportunities for staff if anyone wasn't able to get their first dose or changed their mind or for whatever reason still would like a vaccine. We do have additional opportunities through Alina, which we're very thankful for. And then again, PPE, we have an abundance of PPE on all sites for in-person learning with those additional cleaning and safety measures. So again, just a preview or a recap of all of the considerations that go into decision making for each quarter learning model. You can see here. And so looking to maintain for quarter 4 learning model in that full hybrid phase. Our case rates are such that we, and they've been remaining steady. So really looking to continue the current routine that we have. Of course, families continue to have the option to choose Heights from Home through the end of the school year. There's a current form, an opt-in form for secondary students, and Member Palmer mentioned that earlier, that's happening this week. And so we'll be reviewing that data. And again, as always, if case rates do increase, we can move to a more restrictive model. We've always this whole year kept the health and safety as a priority. And if case rates actually, dramatically decrease during quarter 4, we would still be able to maintain that full hybrid, but possibly at secondary move to that one group model that Director Tuckroll explained. If our staff capacity and our building capacity allowed for it. Currently, our case rates are such that where we're at right now is appropriate. And then if there were a change to the green zone, the full on-site learning, during quarter 4, for whatever reason, that would require school board approval. So again, we just continue to monitor the case rates. So if there's any questions.
All right, questions? All right, I think, we've been presented with this model multiple times, which is great because it's great for us to continued to be reminded of what we're expecting, hearing the most current practices. So don't take the lack of questions. I think your presentation was just that thorough, so thank you. All right, we'll move on then to action items, and our one and only action item for tonight is the revised 2020-2021 budget, and I'd like to welcome Director Hennekins back.
Thank you, Chair Severson, members of the board, and Superintendent Stenvik. I'm going to get my screen shared here. I think everybody should be seeing this at this point. So this evening, I have a presentation on the revised budget. This was presented at the work session at the previous school board meeting. This is, as Chair Severson mentioned, action items. We're seeking approval for the revised budget this evening. Again, I'm going to step through this, though a little bit briefer than I did at the work session, just kind of step through some of the key points of the budget revision. Again, our mission, we're creating worlds of opportunity for each and every learner, all belong, all succeed, core values, focus of excellence and integrity. Again, briefly, there's some adjustments from the preliminary budget to the revised budget. One of the bigger factors in the increase in revenues is that CARES Act funding. And one of the bigger expenses, of course, is the CARES Act funding. Though a note on the expense side, we did have areas of expenses that did decrease with students being on distance learning, and some of the operations, consulting, transportation, and subs were some of those categories that we did see slight decreases in expenses. We did see teacher, we had contract increases in steps and lanes for FY21, plus one other note is we really focused on not furloughing staff through the pandemic and keeping the district whole as much as possible. We did have one exception with a small window of summer school where we furloughed a few staff for a short period of time for I believe it was July and August. In the other areas within the budget, a couple notes, and we'll see the numbers in a minute, where the food service, again, revenues and expenditures are decreased off of the preliminary, and this is really basis on just the number of meals that we're serving and how we're serving meals right now with the majority of our students were in distance learning, and now around 50% of our students are still in distance learning by choice, and so we're just serving less lunches and breakfasts and snacks. So revenues are down, and our expenditures are down. We're one of the main costs is, of course, purchasing the food. We do have those staff expenditures. One note there is we didn't furlough any staff, but we did not hire unfilled positions, which helped decrease our expenditures. So it really helped balance revenue and expenditures for the food service area. And we do intend still to have a fund balance decrease in that area with some additional capital expenditures. And then community education, again, there's less participation in programming, and a lot of their revenues are fee-based. So we are seeing a decrease in revenues and expenditures in that area. So again, the numbers, again, I'll note right away that as the preliminary budget, the revised budget still shows a decrease in fund balance. That decrease in fund balance has changed, and we're not overall in the total general fund, we're not decreasing that fund balance as much. Some key notes, I guess, in the restricted unassigned area. I'll note the capital, operating capital area. We did have a fund balance in that area as audited at the end of last fiscal year. We do currently still have expenditures showing to basically remove that fund balance and balance out the capital. And then another note in long-term facility maintenance, we did have a negative balance in that area coming out of the capital projects. The kind of the bigger portion of those bond referendum projects, which we did combine long-term facility maintenance dollars with those projects to really complete those projects. And this year we're seeing expenditures, or we're anticipating expenditures lower, and that fund balance is really carrying over to a zero balance. So it's just offsetting that negative balance. So we anticipate that still to come true. And again, we are still seeing a fund balance decrease. I think in the preliminary it was around $750,000 in fund balance change in the total general fund, and the budget revision we're at about $581,000, $582,000 change in fund balance, and so ending just shy of $3 million on the overall general fund balance. And then again, looking at those other funds, food service, our revenues and expenditures, as I mentioned, are down. And you can see that we had almost a $611,000 food service fund balance. So we do anticipate, again, eating into that fund balance. And I would say a note on food service is that fund balance in food service, they really don't like it when you carry too big of a fund balance in there. We had been building it up a little bit because we do anticipate capital expenditures, some new ovens and such. So again, we will see that fund balance go down this year and then likely next year too, with additional capital expenditures. Community education, again, I noted earlier, we saw an anticipated decrease in revenues and expenditures. You can see not much of a fund balance change in that area. The building construction fund, Fund 6 at capital projects levy dollars, and And the other funds, not much change from that preliminary budget. So I guess with that, so total fund balance of about $9.6 million. I will take any questions.
All right, questions from the board? And just for those who are listening at home, sorry, I know I said that and then I talked. We did hear about this in greater detail at our work session last week. And then I saw Laura, your hand popped right up.
I just hit, excuse me, I just had a real quick question. So our fund balance, I know it dipped a little bit from, we had been, we knew that it was going to go down a little bit, but it's, where did you say, like 7% or 8%?
Yeah, it's between 7 and 7.25. I know when we reviewed this at the work session, I anticipated it a little bit higher. There were a couple items that we had to adjust, and on revenues versus expenditures, and one of those items was actually in operating capital, where we're accounting for the levy twice in two different areas, and really, we can only account for the levy aid coming in once. So there were some adjustments that we made there, and overall, I mean, it's still better than what the preliminary was. So we're thankful for that, and again, that was riding a lot on that CARES Act funding that came in. So that's where we see the biggest change.
Well, we're still within the board policy. So yeah, but I'm glad to see it's better than we were originally thinking. Good job.
More questions? Lorian.
Yeah, just I think to expand on for what Laura had said for those listening at home too, I think if we look at the preliminary budget that the board approved, it showed a greater reduction in fund balance and a lower percentage, and or right around the same roughly percentage. But I think there's been a lot that's been happening this year. So seeing that the team has been able to manage the revenues and expenses and provide what has needed to be provided for our students and our teachers is good. I think we continue to need to watch and monitor our revenues and expenditures and be good stewards of taxpayer dollars. And I think we're here right now and continue to. I think the board set that fund balance percentage and needs to stay there, but we're headed in an okay direction, I'll say for now. It's just, I never get too optimistic about this until we're changing our fund balance policy because but it's like, you also don't want to hoard tons of money and not spend it on what needs to be spent either. So striking that balance is appropriate. And I appreciate that with everything that's been happening this year, that we are being presented a revised budget that isn't putting us in a worse situation than we were when we originally approved the budget.
All right, so I'm looking for a motion to approve the 2020-2021 revised budget.
So moved, Hala.
Thanks, Hala. A second?
Second.
Laura? Any further discussion or questions for Brian or for the board? Mary, did you unmute there? Oh, now you're muted. Okay, we're good. All right. All right. With no more questions, we'll do a roll call vote.
Lewis?
Aye.
Brandlin?
Try again, Mary.
Aye.
There it is. We got it.
Samurai?
Aye.
Mueller?
Aye.
Severson?
Aye.
Palmer? Aye.
All right, motion carries. Great. We'll move on to board topics. And I'm going to actually, oops, I have to save this note and then click. I'm going to actually get us started. As you saw in your packet on Friday, we talked about meeting with Dr. Khalifa for our board number 3 goal of equity. We kind of, as we've been observing the price, realized that it's maybe not feasible at this time for our board. Director Tuckroll went out and did a little more research for us and has suggested an option could be Anthony Mohammed. The teachers and our administration has studied books he's written and thinks this could be a good fit. And correct me if I'm wrong, but Director Tuckroll reached out to his department and said he would have advice, wisdom on the topics of governance and policy, correct?
That's correct.
All right. Wondering, because I want to get the ball rolling on this, typically this is something we would talk about in our work study. It's a whole month away, I mean, on a calendar, so wanting to get the ball rolling on a discussion if we needed to get dates booked out. How you all felt about the option of doing 3 2-hour sessions with Anthony Mohammed? Paula, I saw you unmute.
Yep, I'm all for it. I've listened to him before, and he's just as phenomenal.
Great. Laura, I see your hand.
Yes, I'm glad that the staff has already done some work with his books. That's why I would definitely support this, is because I definitely want to be talking and thinking about the same things that we're asking the administration and the staff to do.
Great. Mary. Okay, try again. Oh, I heard something.
Did this? How about now?
You're on.
Okay, wonderful. I think in addition to what Hala and Laura said, sorry, I also think that this is a really good use of the financial resources that we have at our disposal. I think we have to be really good stewards of finances as well, and this really sort of ticks a lot of the same boxes that we were looking at as a board, hoping to continue, learning, and also the same learning that we're asking our staff, asking the staff to do. So I think, again, this is a really good option, and I am all for it.
Lorian.
Yeah, I think I'll comment too. I think I appreciate the intentionality, and I know this is an investment, right? This isn't like $100. So taking a look at this, and I talked with Natty briefly at the chair meeting that I look at what our expectations are for ourselves as a board and with the goals that we set, which are important, and what educational opportunities there are for us to be really intentional about our education and what we do with that. And I compared it to attending NSBA, and I attended NSBA, and I feel like I had a really great experience, and I learned a lot. But this to me seems like an opportunity to really take direct knowledge here at home to our community and to take charge of the goals that we set forth and really and take the next steps that we've been committed to and that the administration and teachers and staff have been committed to as well. So to me, this is a good investment of action steps.
Molly, I saw that hand.
Yeah, thank you. I agree with what everyone is saying. I just want to be sure that those 3 meetings would kind of replicate what we discussed in our last meeting. Specifically that last meeting, having it directed at like the policy that we can use in Columbia Heights, so it's really specific. Is that still going to be able to happen? And I fully support this. I was a little bit worried before when we talked about Dr. Kaliva, just because I was concerned about the dollar amount, and so I support this 100%. If we're able to do that, I just want to make sure that those 3 sessions would line up similarly to what we had talked about.
It looks like based on kind of the idea that Superintendent Stenvik suggested, we go with 2 sessions, one in this fiscal year, which would be between April and June, and then looking at another one with 2 in between April and June, and then a third in July and August, which would make this kind of financial sense for our board budget as we look at that. And then in terms of topics, Zena, can I defer to you on that?
Yeah, typically when the district works with a national consultant such as Dr. Mohammed, there's a conversation with the team or the staff or the consultant themselves to to make sure that it's a right fit for both parties and to be able to weigh in on the content. And so this wouldn't be like a canned professional development for teachers. This would be really tailored toward school board, the governance, and the policy that you're looking for.
And we were discussing in the chair meeting, and I think it warrants a discussion here, the benefit of this being our board specifically to just allow for a greater conversation and more practical, usable steps forward coming out of this. I'm excited to learn, to grow, to understand, but I'm also excited to see what action steps we can take, given this board has an equity-minded lens to create movement for students. So, Laura, I see your hand keeps
Yeah,
bobbing.
well, I'm really looking forward to this work. I'm really hoping that that we will be able to develop the tools for being able to identify blind spots and be able to make sure that our policy shines the light on them. You know, just like that. So we can definitely get some guidance and help us to develop some sort of a critical eye. I'm all for it. Let's get this done.
Oh, I see you're unmuted again.
Yep, in terms of scheduling, I don't know how soon you guys were starting. You said, somebody said something about April. I ask that we not have that first session during Ramadan.
Okay, great. Thank you for the reminder.
Ends in the middle of May.
Okay. We'll look into the dates and, okay. All right, so are we feeling good about moving forward in this investment with Dr. Muhammad?
Yep.
All right. Molly, can I get a head bob? All right. I'm just reading nonverbals here, sorry. All right, let's move ahead in that direction then. Other board topics?
I'm looking forward to attending the virtual National School Board Association, which I believe is coming up. Is it next weekend or the weekend after?
The end of next week, right?
The end of next week?
Early April.
Yeah, it's always in always in April. So looking forward to that, and it's gonna be kind of interesting. Maybe I'll be able to, maybe they'll have some sessions where you can, when there's two of them you want to go to, and they're both at the same time, so.
How many board members are attending? I know I am not. I chose to do the MSBA Phase 3 and Phase 4 training in April in place of that. So I don't know who
I'll be
else
going.
is-
I'll be going.
All right, great.
So do you guys, does it make sense if you get Dawn, like a list of the sessions that you're attending so that you're all not attending the same ones? I know, we usually, when like the two people go, we kind of split up a little bit in terms of
Going to
breadth of
follow
sessions.
this thread, yes.
Right, so
Yep.
I don't know, I know we can't all meet together, and the four of you can't talk about the sessions you're going to, but I don't know if getting that to Dawn.
I think it's appropriate for it to come back to a board meeting or one of our work studies, right, our work sessions, so that we can share whatever comes up. And also Dawn has been great about making lots of copies for board packets of things that really stuck out to us over the years. So I think if you get that information to Superintendent Stenvik and Dawn, they can kind of coordinate getting it in the packets.
Thank you.
And that's a great way for us to exchange information, ideas. I know community engagement, way back when Hala and I went out to Denver. Geez, Hala, that was a while ago now, huh? We definitely were interested in community engagement, and the beginning of the roots of now we have this subcommittee on community engagement. So it's great to see motion come out of the investment in our continuing ed. So.
Yeah, and when I was in Boston, I followed the mental health.
You got Boston lucky.
Yeah, all by myself. It was like mental health and trauma is is the thread I followed.
All right. Any other board topics? All right, not hearing any. We will conclude this meeting, adjourn it, I guess, at 8:51 p.m.